What is up, guys? We're moving things around. There we go. We are live. It's Money Shots. It's Thursday. Kelly, I'm glad you decided to unmute your mic because I didn't know what we were going to do without you if you weren't hopping in. How are you feeling today? Kelly?
Can't hear anything.
You still cannot hear
Sorry,
anything.
I got nothing.
Why don't we remove you from the broadcast and then come back? Let's see. Did that work at all? Can you hear us now?
Kelly?
Nope, she cannot. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can't. Don't want to ban you from the studio. Should I? Yeah, there we go. She'll come back in. And Che, we can just sit here. I'm trying to find the 2-box. Don't have a 2-box. I do not think anymore. Okay, let's see. Add to stream. Kelly, can you hear us? Still
Kelly,
can't.
you there?
She still cannot hear anything. Well,
Kelly, is your computer muted? Is your computer volume on low?
I don't think she can hear us. Let's go in the comments. Well, Che, if you want to, you could start maybe talking through some of your stuff. Maybe Kelly can, I'm not sure, edit mics. Let's see. All of it, everything on my end is good to go.
Yeah, I could talk about it. So basketball last night, big hit. Julius Randle over 11.5 boards. We moved the line almost instantly to 12.5. That did feel a little bit rich, but he had 9 rebounds in the first quarter. Easy win. I think he finished like 16 or 17 rebounds. A play like today, I put it out early. Kyrie Irving over 4.5 assists against the Celtics. It's a national game. Kevin Durant is out. And I believe it's 6 of his last 7 games without Kevin Durant. He's been 5 assists or more. In, I think it is 7 of 9 games as a member of the Nets against the Celtics, he's been 5 assists or more. So I like that play a lot. It got juiced up very heavily, and then the line moved up to 5.5. What is very difficult is if a line moves, either from 11.5 to 12.5 or 4.5 to 5.5, those are monster swings. I mean, we're talking, 9%, 20%. I feel a lot. I don't feel great getting behind those raised up lines. 2 things I'd recommend is just setting notifications for either at Stephen Che or at Trust the Data because they go out there immediately. But I did say I was going to give out additional leans that I did like, not necessarily official picks that will go against the record, but ones that I certainly considered. I gave out one on my Instagram story for Trust the Data, and it was Terry Rozier of the Hornets. These are all in the same game, actually, and they're all 3-point plays. Terry Rozier over 2.5 3-pointers. It was even money when I gave it out. He has had a lot of success against the Raptors, and they're just down a bunch of guys. It looks like Gordon Hayward is doubtful. Kelly Oubre is out. He's had hand surgery recently. So Terry Rozier is going to be counted on to score, and in his last 5 games, he's averaging just under 10 threes a game, so we just need him to hit 30%, and I think he will do that.
We're trying to get Kelly back in here. She said that she's not able to hear anything on her side, on her computer. I told her to maybe hop on her phone to try it out. So, maybe she'll be able to hop back in here in a second. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Usually it's on my end, but today Kelly is the lucky recipient of computer problems, which I don't wish that upon anyone. But hopefully she'll be able to hop on her phone and all will be well. What else you got for us, Che?
Do you have the 2-box by any chance?
I was trying. There we go. No. Hold on. I gotta go.
You just gotta change the overlay.
Yeah, I'm going to the overlay now. We used to have a 2-box, but now we only have the 3-box.
Okay. I'll talk through it. So Terry Rozier over 2.5 3-pointers was one of the plays. Another play I like in that game is PJ Washington over 1.5 3-pointers. He's gotten it 9 out of his last 10 games. I actually didn't pick this one for 2 reasons. These 2 teams just played, so things could certainly change. Defenses could adjust, etc. This was at -139 earlier. It's at -137 right now. I just thought that would get a little bit too juiced. Kyrie was in the 130s, but a little bit lower. and had just moved. Terry Rozier right now -107 on the Barstool Sportsbook. The other one I like is Gary Trent Jr. over 2.5 threes. He's been averaging just under 9 threes a game in his past 5 games. I believe he's hit this in 5 of his last 6 games. So those 3 guys shooting 3-pointers in that game, I like a lot. I actually parlayed them together. I would give those out as additional leans if you missed out on Kyrie Irving. But those are my plays for tonight. And I like them a pretty good bit. But again, my play is Kyrie Irving over 4.5 assists.
I think we have Kelly back. I think she can finally hear us, and maybe we can hear her speak.
Yeah, we're here. Sorry for the tech issues, guys. Rom in the comment section says Kelly's computer's not even immune to her mush powers right now, and he's not wrong. I have been ice cold, including with technology, I guess.
So Che, since Kelly wasn't able to hear you, and for those that just joined in, just could you don't have to give us your whole breakdown, but just run over the bets so that Kelly can also hop on the hot train that is Stephen J.
So the official play today was Kyrie Irving over 4.5 assists. We put it out this morning. The line's already up to 5.5. I can't really get behind that, so I do give out some additional leans. They're all from the same game, and they're all 3-pointers. Terry Rozier over 2.5 3-pointers, PJ Washington over 1.5 3-pointers, and Gary Trent Jr. over 2.5 3-pointers. Those are ones that I strongly considered for the official pick. Gary Trent Jr. shoots the 3-pointer exceptionally well on Thursdays. Fun fact, almost 6% better than every other day of the week. With a big sample size too.
I love obscure stats like that. Like if they just have like a one day of the week that they're just like crushing. That's what I like to look at in college basketball a lot too, just because there's some days that teams just for some reason can't get a win. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you got to ride the hot hand, Megan. And that is exactly what I'm doing tonight with tailing Stephen Che, because he is the hottest gambler right now in the company, and I am not.
Well, Kelly, as a avid gambler and someone that's been doing this responsibly for a long time, how do you get out of your cold streaks? So, because I mean, what I do is I pout and I play through it. But that's not probably the right answer. What do you do to shake the cold streak?
Oh, Megan, I'm definitely pouting. I just might not be pouting as vocally in the public eye, but in my group chat, like last night when A&M, who was up double digits at half, I laid 4.5 with them. When they started to give that big lead back, like I was like, all right, this is when I just lose it completely. Like, all right, I saw what happened in the West Virginia game, can let it slide. Baylor finally, broke out that losing streak. Then, again, with another dog, staying off Georgia was frustrating in itself. And A&M is going to do this to me. Texas was already dead in the water, so it didn't matter. I thought I was really going to lose it. And a little reverse jinx tweet helped me out. But I'll be honest with you. I've told several people that have texted me that are either clients or, friends, whatever. Kelly, what are you doing? Well, I'm decreasing my unit size. And when you get hot, you increase. And when you get cold, you decrease. And that's how you can protect your bankroll for the long term. I always tell people that I like to flat bet. Probably the exception would be either my best bets in college football, college basketball, or NFL. I haven't had, there you go, find one play you love and only bet that game. There you go. You do need to only see the ball go through the hoop. And that game yesterday was A&M for me, but I could not help myself with a couple other teams on my card, all chalk, which is so uncharacteristic of me. But another viewer had pointed out, Kelly, you're winning all these favorites that maybe you missed the number on. Sure enough, I, of course, do that. And we saw the end result, 1-3. It has not been a fun week, but I think you just have to power through and really show some discipline, whether it's one game or 3 games, but just as long as you are still decreasing your bet size as you go along or increasing, right? When I was in St. Croix, things were lighting up. I was, I couldn't miss. So I started increasing my bet size. And I think that that's important to recognize when things are getting cold and when you should be able to take a step back.
So on that note, are you just tailing Stephen Che tonight, or do you have any other NBA plays that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I missed the boat on the Nets, Megan, and you hear me say that a lot, that, I missed the number. And of course I did, because it was +4 and now it's +1.5. And that was because I thought this Brooklyn team is just not getting enough respect here at home. I know Boston's red hot. Hello. They have been all season long, if you've been watching them at all, but I'm not sure they deserve to be road favorites here. But because I did miss the number, ultimately, I decided to pass. We know that Boston's going to have an advantage with Durant being gone, and we also know that Jason Tatum is an absolute stud, coupled with, Brown. But we'll see how that one ends up playing out. But that was my lean, was to the Nets. But again, missed the number there, so I'm going to pass on the National Basketball Association tonight.
Che, do you have anything else that you want to give out in the NBA before we move on to talk about the NFL?
No, those were my plays for tonight. Again, Kyrie Irving is the main play.
Kyrie Irving is the main play. He's the bag. Let's go chase it tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right, let's move.
Wait, I can give out one other. I wouldn't even say this is a lean, but something you want to look into. Bam Adebayo assists over. I believe it's 2.5. Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero are both out. His numbers with those two out are better in playmaking. That's something that I would give out as something to look into. Is Bam Adebayo over 2.5 assists?
All right, so look out for Bam and Kyrie. Kyrie's the man. All right, let's move on to the National Football League, and let's talk about game numero uno on the slate, which is the Seahawks at the 49ers. You have Mr. Geno Smith and Brock Purdy going to the playoffs, which is two names that I did not think I would be uttering at this point in the season. But hey, here we are. You have the Niners laying 9.5. Personally, I honestly don't know what to make of this game. I don't want to lay the 9.5 with the Niners because at some point, because Brock Purdy has been playing out of his box. I mean, he's a rookie. This is a big stage. But at some point, he's bound to make some mistakes and have some regression. And somehow Geno Smith has just been a fucking magician all year long. So I'm not really sure what I want to do here. Maybe looking at the under, just because that 49ers defense is stout. Kelly, I'll start with you. What are you thinking about in this game?
Megan, I'm also looking towards the under here, and I haven't quite got to the window with it yet. And the big caveat is because San Francisco's games, even though that defense is solid, has still been going over 8 of the last 11. So that does kind of concern me here. But look at the weather. Obviously, we're still a few days away, but keep that big circled because as soon as any kind of weather gets announced, we know that line's automatically going to come down. You mentioned Geno Smith. Man, I know there's an asterisk because there's one more week now, but he literally just broke Russell Wilson's single passing yards record. Like, who would have thought? I wouldn't have. I'm with you. I lean towards the Seahawks and the cover position here. I thought we were going to see this one dip below 9, but I think the books are like, you know what? We know we're going to get banged around on teasers this week. Let's just not. Because if they drop that to 8.5, the whole world is going to tease the 49ers below a field goal, and I don't blame them. I probably would too. Christian McCaffrey, since going to the 49ers, has just been a complete and utter badass. Then you've got you've kind of got that three-headed monster, right? Whether it's McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, and then now Deebo Samuel's going to be back in the lineup, it looks like. I think that's just going to only strengthen and lift up Purdy here in this position. I would not be surprised to see San Francisco get another cover because they've just been on a tear. The Seahawks started the season on a tear, but lately they've just been so overvalued, and that is because no one their season win total was 5.5. 5.5, and here they are.
I took the under on that for sure. I'll be the first one to eat crow.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him. I was like, okay, well, we haven't seen enough from Geno, and if Russell couldn't do it, why would Geno be able to? And sure enough, he has. I think they're probably one of the bigger surprises. But lean Seattle, probably not going to get to the window on them. I like the under. I like the first half under as well. So keep an eye on that total over the next day or so. Unders this year, Megan.
Look at this guy with a goatee.
Yes, he has a cute dog at least. Other than that, he should buy some new glasses. Divisional. Here's one thing: double-digit favorites since 2010. Megan, 11-0 against the spread. So I know this one's currently 9.5, but that does apply to the Bills. And if this one goes up and over, the one thing that I am really looking at is wild card unders, 11-27 over the last decade. That's huge, 71%. So this is one of the unders I'm definitely looking at.
All right, Che, what do you think about this game? Do you have any anything that you're looking at already as far as props? Are we excited about it? Talk to me.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm necessarily as excited about this game specifically. A couple things to note. So the over-under is 42 right now. They played twice this season. The game total both times was 34. So something to think about. I do like the under there. Seattle is the second worst team in defending tight ends as far as yards per game. They give up about 66 yards per game. George Kittle's over under is 43 and a half or 45 and a half. But it's low. His first game against them, he had 93 yards. So that is a play that I'd be looking at strongly.
All right. Up next, Chargers, Jags. I'm not going to lie. I thought I would see the number with this Jags team go the opposite direction. I wasn't expecting to see a lot of people betting the Chargers with the Jags just being the beauty right now, if you will, the hot, sexy team that everyone wants a little piece of. But man, you still have Justin Herbert, who's a really serviceable quarterback, and I just don't know if I trust the Jags yet. I know it sounds crazy because I mean they've done exactly what they needed to do to get here. Trevor Lawrence looks great. He's no Joe Burrow, but I just, again, not a game. The only game I've played was the Bengals, and I took a -6.5, and that line has just absolutely shot up, obviously, without Lamar Jackson playing. What do you think of this Chargers-Jags game? Che, I'll start with you.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because they played earlier this year, and the game was a blowout. It was 38-10, Jacksonville. One play I like a lot with this game is Austin Eckler over 4.5 catches. I know that Mike Williams back. I know that Keenan Allen's back. His first game against him, he had 8 catches. And he's just a guy that is used heavily out of the backfield. So I think with the game on the line, with Jacksonville pressuring Justin Herbert, I think he's going to look to Austin Eckler a lot. I think over 4.5 is a good bet, even though he didn't finish the year with a ton of catches with those guys back. I think prime time, it's going to be Eckler time.
Kelly, what are your thoughts on this game?
I actually have a different opinion on this game than a lot of people. And a lot of sharp guys think this is going to be a shootout, Megan. I'm not sure it is.
I literally wrote down, I think this will be a shootout. So maybe
I know a lot of people that think it will be. I am going to say this. I was in Jacksonville last weekend, and I know that me going to a game does not equate to this game. But that was a playoff game last weekend, Megan, whether people want to admit it or not. And you're going to hear this week a lot to do with guys' first playoff experiences, right? We know Daniel Jones has never been in the playoff, and we'll get to that in a minute. But neither Trevor Lawrence nor Justin Herbert has any playoff experience. But I would argue to say that that was a playoff environment. I was shocked. Honestly, there was a lot of hillbillies in Jacksonville. I got treated like absolute dog shit. Rightfully so. I was wearing a Derrick Henry jersey, but I was like, am I in Philadelphia? Like, where am I getting heckled by these people? It was kind of wild to see, but they are absolutely and utterly pumped. The environment. Now, we talk a lot about home field advantage in the NFL, and usually it's just nothing. It's a point here, a half a point there. If it's rocking like it was last Saturday, I think that is worth probably close to 3 points to the number. On the flip side, you could argue that the Chargers are finally healthy, of course, right? As you just mentioned, even though Mike Williams got hurt. Because why? Because Brandon Staley is a dumbass. What in the world was he thinking, leaving all of those guys in a game that ultimately didn't matter? So if I've got to do coaching, if I give Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence equal weight here, again, first playoff game for both of them, it's kind of just one of those things. I have to give Doug Peterson a definite leg up. We know he knows what he's doing. And yes, they needed a pick 6 to get that win, but they didn't cover. So that was nice of me to be able to get Titans plus 6.5. But I've bet on this team, Megan, 3 times at home this year, all 3 as home dogs. And all 3 times they've needed to come back and win it. And that's what we've seen this team be able to do. They did it for me against the Ravens. They did it for me against the Cowboys. And one more team I'd have to look and double check because it was earlier in the season. I think the Jags get the win here. I think they're a perfect teaser spot. Tease them up to 8.5 with Chase Bucks, which we'll get to here in a minute. That's the easiest thing to do. I do think Jags money line is the right play. My only problem is like you said, the shootout. I don't want the Jags in a shootout here, I don't think. I really don't. I'd rather have them in a low-scoring defensive battle, 17-14 type final. And that's what really scares me because I think them in a shootout sounds absolutely and utterly terrifying.
It is terrifying, but it would be amazing to watch. I would love a Trevor Lawrence v. Justin Herbert battle through the air.
Herbert's really good.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Dolphins, Bills. Kelly, you have already alluded to that these double-digit favorites have been relatively done relatively well in the past, and I don't see how it will be any different with this Bills game. Even if they come out flat, you know that they're going to make adjustments and probably end up winning by 70 in the second half. I'm not sure. This feels a whole lot like Georgia TCU, where it's just going to be like the Bills are going to be eating chicken wings on the sideline, halfway through the game. I know, you got Skylar Thompson or Teddy Bridgewater potentially going for the Dolphins, but I'm not laying it with the Dolphins. With the Bills, I don't think. I'm also not going to take the points with the Dolphins because I just feel like that's a play where you have to hold your nose and just hope that something good happens for you. And I'm also not going to touch the total because, as I said, the Bills could go over that by themselves. What you got, Shay?
For this one, I don't like a ton of plays just because Skylar Thompson really takes the wind out of the sails of this game. Josh Allen has thrown for 2+ passing touchdowns every single time he's played Miami, which I think is 9 or 10 times. It's minus 162. Let's go. It's minus 162, so I'd parlay it with some things. But if you're looking for a fun little thing to juice up your odds, I think that is a good play.
All right. And Kelly, Skylar Thompson's from your town. Well, your leg of town, your area.
My alma mater, yes. Listen, I'm not here for the Skylar slander, but I would agree with Frank. He's not an NFL starting quarterback. But hey, neither are, let's call it 14 or 15 other guys that are starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But that's not up for debate because we're talking the playoffs. I like the under here. I know it sounds absolutely and utterly asinine. It sounds terrible. It sounds scary.
What's the weather going to be like in Buffalo? Is it going to be obviously chilly, right?
It's going to be cold, but I haven't seen anything as far as bad weather. And Megan, you're right. Even though I do think this number is overblown, I have a sinking feeling that Damar Hamlin is going to walk out there with his team and is going to just engulf that stadium.
It is going thinking about it.
Thinking about how awesome that's going to be. I mean, the fact that he's made this really rapid recovery has been incredible to say the least. But if he is able to go to that game, I think that is going to give the Bills just inject it into their veins. And so I could not even make a case for the Dolphins in the overreaction spot because I do think the line is too high now. But again, double-digit favorites, they've been crushing as of late. It's a Bills game to lose. The Dolphins have all but cashed it in, unfortunately. If you look at just how Frank talks about his team, that right there should just let you know what Dolphins fans are thinking. They limped into the playoffs, and it's unfortunate because they've won just one of their last 6 games. And so if we're asking them to win this game, I just don't see it.
Team total under 14.5 does sound intriguing, but it also sounds scary because, 14.5 isn't not that many points, but also I don't see them putting up that many points. So, yeah, intriguing to say the least. All right, up next, I feel like what will probably be the most entertaining game of the week, Giants, Vikings. I feel like everyone is on the Giants, including all of the sharps. From what I understand, the handle is 90% on the Giants. Maybe I just made that stat up. This is the place you come for made up stats from me. I just pull them out of my ass and I hope that they're correct. But yeah, I feel like everyone is going to be on the Giants, and I feel like rightfully so. They've just looked so good, and they feel like again, Daniel Jones in the playoffs. What this is crazy. You got Geno Smith, you got Brock Purdy, Skylar Thompson. You got this is just insane. What are we supposed to do with this? I wouldn't be surprised if Kirk Cousins pulls a fantastic game out of his ass. But as Smitty said earlier on Pick Central, this game does start at 3:30, which is Kirk time. But then the other half is at nighttime, so he'll probably shit the bed second half of the game. I would like to take the Vikings just because I know how good Justin Jefferson is, and I would love to just watch him have a day. But I kind of agree with everybody. I kind of lean the Giants here just because I don't trust Kirk Cousins at all. Kelly, what do you think?
I absolutely trust Kirk. Are you kidding me? It's like me versus the world. It's like from Game of Thrones where I got my Vikings -3 sword and I'm ready to take on everybody that has just bashed this team all year long. Megan, this is the team that I've had the best read on. I said they were going to win the division. I said they're going to go over their season win total. And yes, did they falter at times? Did they get very lucky? And as you mentioned, did they pull some games out of their asses? Yes. You know the game they also pulled out of their asses? This one, what week was that? Trying to think. Either way, 3 weeks ago? A month ago, something like that. And you know what your boy Justin Jefferson did? 12 catches, 133 yards, touchdown. I think that he is going to have another big game. I hope Che agrees with me, but I don't think this Giants defense is going to be able to keep him under wraps. And my biggest thing here that I'd like to have a sidebar, Brian Daboll, first-year head coach. This team won 4 games last year. Kudos to him. I definitely think that he should be right up there with a couple other guys for coach of the year. But I love this Vikings defense, and I do think that that is how this Vikings team is going to get through the playoffs. Daniel Jones isn't anything to write home about. Sure, Saquon Barkley, we've seen flashes of his former self this year, but I do think Minnesota is going to advance. Hopefully, they also get the cover. They are 15-0, the last 15 as a favorite. I know New York has covered 4 straight, but this looks like an absolute shootout to me. At least from the Vikings perspective. So maybe I'll be looking at the Vikings team total over, but I swear I might be the only person I know that likes the Vikings this weekend.
Che, what props are we looking at here?
I really hope Kelly's right. I like the Giants, but I hope the Vikings win because I'm already past Dallas.
You're scheming over there. You're moving things around.
I don't want to play San Francisco. I do not want that smoke. I'd much rather play Philadelphia. There are a few plays that I like in this game. TJ Hawkinson over 4.5 catches. He's done that a lot. He's like Kirk Cousins' favorite target, basically. I know they throw to Justin Jefferson a lot, but TJ Hawkinson's been getting a ton of catches. I think he had like 13 catches the first time. 13 for 109 and 2 touchdowns the first time they played the Giants. I don't think he's going to do nearly that well, but 4.5 feels a little bit low to me. So I like TJ Hawkinson over 4.5 catches. Kelly mentioned that Justin Jefferson had 133 yards that first matchup. You know who else said? Saquon Barkley. And the Minnesota Vikings are a bottom 10 run defense for the past 3 games, bottom 12 overall for the season. I very much like Saquon Barkley's combined rushing and receiving yardage total of 96.5. I think whether they're up and they're going to pound Saquon Barkley or they're down and they're going to throw some dump offs to Saquon Barkley, I like both of those plays. I think this is a very versatile prop bet, his combined over rushing and receiving. Also, Saquon Barkley over 3.5 catches I like a lot. Minnesota does not defend the pass well to running backs.
Boom, data. There you go. Up next, Ravens, Bengals. As I said, the only game that I played early, -6.5. It is now -9.5 for the Bengals. Joe Burrow is about to go out, put his nuts on the table, throw for 4 touchdowns. They're going back to win a Super Bowl this year. It's okay. That's just my predictions, and that's what I'm sticking to. I'm happy to have my 6.5 ticket. How I'm going to be able to put it out, I probably won't, because people will absolutely annihilate me. I should have done it like my LSU ticket, where it's like I know Lamar's not going to play.
Do we know Lamar's not going to play?
Dude, if they play him, that would be.
I'm just curious.
From what I understand,
have yet to see that he's out. All I'm saying is I have yet to hear that he is out for this game. You don't think there's something
sure as hell
really
looks
fishy?
like from this line.
He hasn't went to practice. And the line dictates that. And we know that they activated Brett Hundley, and we know that Huntley is hurt. We also know that we saw what we saw from Brooks last week. Like, I'm good. I'm not trying to guess. I'm just curious. Has anybody heard that Lamar Jackson is out? I feel like there's some fuckery going on here. And that's what's really got my wheels spinning, Megan.
Either way, Bengals are bust forever. Che, what do we got? We got a Jamar Chase over receiving. What are we thinking?
No, this game I'm not going to touch until we know the status of Lamar Jackson, because if Lamar Jackson plays, I expect this to be a fairly close game. If he doesn't, I think that this goes in a totally other direction. So I really want to see that. One thing I would say is that if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, Justin Tucker or Baltimore over 1.5 field goals is a pretty good bet. With Tyler Huntley at quarterback, Justin Tucker has gotten at least 2 field goal attempts in every one of his starts. So that is a fun little thing to add into parlays, is Baltimore over 1.5 field goals if Lamar Jackson does not play.
Perfect. And we're going to appropriately end the NFL talk on Cowboys Bucks. You have Tom Brady at home catching 2.5 points. Stephen Che, do you feel disrespected?
It would be yes, and I'm sure that's the bulletin board material for this week. But I mean, we should be. I mean, we have a losing record, so I think that is perfectly understandable. The play I like the most in this game, I believe, is Chris Godwin over 66.5 passing yards, receiving yards. He's definitely found his stride. His thing before was catches, and his line is 6.5, which I think he probably will get, but I actually like the yardage a lot more. His knee from his torn ACL last year against the Dirty Saints has been seems to be fully healed. They're going down the field to him more. So I like Chris Godwin over 66.5 yards. And also, Bucks money line. Tom Brady has never lost the Cowboys in his career.
Tom Brady should be in prison. Is that accurate?
What?
For just being
for his FTX scandal that I keep reading about. Oh, poor Tom.
All right, Kelly. I'm assuming that you are, as you already said, you're teasing this game. You're gonna throw it and tease.
I'm teasing this because it's the easiest, biggest pussy way out. I do not trust Tom.
I feel like you saying that is going to backfire because you're saying it's the easiest, pussiest way to back out, and then somehow the Bucks might lose by like 45. I don't know.
And if they do, that's fine. But you know what? This is the easiest thing for me because I don't trust Tom. It's after his bedtime. We know how that plays out. He's covered 2 primetime games this year. So shout out to him because that's 2 more than he covered last year because he covered 0 last year. Cowboys defense has not been playing as well as they started off the season. They played a lot better defense with Cooper Rush. Now, I'm arguing currently on the Twitterverse on how much percentage of the 15 interceptions that Dak has thrown in less than 15 games are his fault. And I got one guy blaming the O-line and one guy blaming the receivers. And I'm like, so Dak gets no blame? I don't trust Dak whatsoever here. I really do not against this Bucs defense. Bucs defense, as Che can allude to, they've kind of just been a little roller coaster ride, right? And it's not been the most fun season, I'm sure, as a Bucs fan or as a Bucs player.
Can confirm.
But I do think this Bucs offense is starting to play better, if that makes any sense, because they couldn't have played any worse in a few games that I did see them live. Now, that being said, again, don't trust them. Would love to look towards the under. Dallas has been horrific on the road historically during the playoffs. Maybe they can buck that trend and get a win here. But I'm going to take Tom Brady over a touchdown in a playoff game. Like I said, it seems too easy. It probably is.
I want to point out one more. Dak Prescott over half an interception. He's thrown a pick in 7 straight games. He's got 11 interceptions in 7 games. And in both of his last 2 games against this Bucs team with the Todd Bowles defense, he threw a pick in both those games.
And how many games has Dak even played this year?
I think he missed 6. Did he miss 6, Che, out of 17? So he played 11 games? Or did he miss 5? I'd have to double check that.
He hasn't missed enough to fucking throw that many picks.
But that's the whole point.
He's played 12 games.
He's played 12. So who's to blame, Megan? I don't know. I don't care. All I know is it keeps happening. I'm with Che. Dak Prescott to throw an interception yesterday when I looked was minus 180. The bookmakers are tired of getting their asses kicked on that play.
162 right now. Yep.
Yeah, I get it. I would not be surprised to see a Bucs interception, maybe a pick 6, something goes wonky here for this Cowboys team. And ultimately, I just can't trust them.
All right, Kelly, do you have any college basketball real quick so we can just throw out our plays before we head out because it is
Yes, I agree with you on Utah. I took Utah plus 12, and I've got 4 more plays. I'm getting ready to hop on Nadeau's. Big Man on Basketball, I think is his new show name. I was on yesterday. He just texted me. He was like, hey, can you fill in? I had a cancellation. So I'll go over a few other games plus some small games. Oh, we got $5. There you go. You're supposed to demonstrate your technique for Megan and Kelly. What does that mean?
It's a YouTube video he watched. It's not a big deal. Just relax.
It's certainly not certified for YouTube.
Anyway.
Oh, Did I miss something on the yak today?
It was a while back. Just know
boy.
that Che supposedly he knows what
We'll
he's
donate
doing.
$100 if Che. Oh, Che, do it for charity. I'll make Megan donate to the dog.
As long as his wife's okay and Brett's okay.
What about, should we call HR and ask if it's okay?
All right. Before we go, I am on Drexel -4, Torrey -2, UM Milwaukee money line, Arizona State +5, Colorado +4, Southern Miss +8, Washington -2, and then Utah +12.
Megan, I may be joining you on Arizona State and Colorado. I'll let you guys know on the next show, and then of course I'll tweet them out. Jake's trying to shout out Jack. Jack left us. Jake, you didn't know that? Just left us high and dry. That's why I had tech issues to start the show. Yeah, I miss that guy. Has anybody heard from him?
Everyone misses Jack always. All right, guys, that's the end of the show. We love you guys. Make sure you're like and subscribe to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube page so you can go back and collect the data that has been given to you in this good show. We'll see you back here. You see me and Kelly on Saturday mornings on Spaces, and then back here on Monday. Thanks for joining us. We love you guys.
Buy a Trust the Data hat.
Yeah, buy it.